Hello, everybody. You've tuned in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant Rich Myers with the Indiana State Police Indianapolis District Public Information Office. I have as my guest today, two guests, an old-time guest, been here many, many times. Captain Burson, thanks for coming back again.
Thanks for the invitation to come back.
Appreciate you wearing the same clothes you wore last time.
I have several of these outfits.
Kind of makes the morning go quicker, doesn't it?
It does. There's no hesitation. Oh, what will I wear today?
Yeah, that's what I've always said about this. You know, why would I want to move up to something where I don't wear the uniform when I can have this supplied free, right?
It simplifies the wardrobe choices.
And with us today also is a representative of Church Brothers. Ted, thank you very much for coming in here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This is Ted. Now make sure I get this last name right. McClintock?
It's McClintock. That's correct.
Ted is the president of Church Brothers. We appreciate you coming in here and speaking with us today. And we're going to be talking about something that happened last year and went over great. And we're going to do it again this year. And that's a car show that is being sponsored by the Church Brothers. Before we get into that, I want to thank the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids for sponsoring our show. The Oz Behind the Curtain, Tom Trial, again, for putting us on YouTube and doing his daily duties as he always does and pulls us off looking good. So thank you, Tom, for being here. And so let's jump right in. The car show last year was the first time, right, Dave?
Last year was the first time, and I'd really like Ted to talk about it because it was from their generosity, and I'm going to set the stage for Ted, is Church Brothers was looking for something to do that would be great for the community and would benefit worthy charities. And from that, the car show came forward, and I'm going to let Ted fill in the blanks.
Well, Ted, let's have a little background on Church Brothers. For people that don't know, Church Brothers is a collision repair.
Collision repair, right. You know, I'll tell you what, we are extremely blessed. We've been in the Indianapolis market since 1929 as a family-owned business, which is amazing, and we don't take that for granted, and I can tell you that for sure. You know, actually, Dan Hall, who's one of the co-owners, took over the business in 1972. Actually, we were started by Brothers Noel and Clem Church in 1929 on Kentucky Avenue.
Really?
So Dan got involved in the 60s and actually was a janitor. And he's a very good janitor, by the way. but he got started in the 60s and moved up.
You got to be a good janitor to move up to that. You know?
That's exactly right. So he started as a janitor, moved up to a painter. And then in 1972, I believe, he ended up buying the business. Rhonda Hall came in 1984. And I tell you, the transition in 1984 in collision repair, they took it really from a body shop in 1984 and moved it to a collision repair center, a more professional business, and it's just been it's been growing ever since.
Well, I can't imagine the things that have changed throughout the years on the electronics, the airbags, the things that have come into place in the last few years, what you guys have to deal with.
Yeah, and really even with all the exotic metals, it's amazing with the technology, and all repairs are struggling to keep up. If things change every year, and now we've got to figure out how to fix the first F-150 that's full aluminum body.
Yeah,
just different than what we've ever done. So it's a different substrate, but different repair techniques, materials.
So is it true what I hear that you guys just keep your Pepsi cans out back and
we do whatever it takes.
Just put those in there. If you look real close, you can see Pepsi.
Saying the Pepsi off.
Well, let's talk about our car show that's coming up. This is the second annual. Last year we had the Wounded Warriors, correct?
Right. Yeah, Wounded Warriors. And I tell you, it really came out. Dan Hall. Dan collects cars, and Dan's always been a car show aficionado. He loves car shows. He likes to buy cars and sell cars.
Kind of works good when you're
it works well. And so we decided that was his idea, really, to have a car show. And we had, actually, for our inaugural car show, we had 200 cars show up, or roughly 200 cars show up, which was amazing. An amazing day. Yeah. You know, our expectation was probably 75 to 100. We were prepared for 200, but didn't expect that.
It was remarkable. It was a great event.
Yeah, and weather was perfect.
Weather was perfect, right?
That's great. So this year we've kind of bounced back. We're doing the same thing, the same location. We'll get to that here in a minute. But you've got a different charity that you're sponsoring this year. Yeah.
This year in a different date. Also, last year we worked around the end of May. This year we're working around the end of August 29th.
Okay.
At the 751 North And really due to our affiliation last year, and we had some support from the Indiana State Police, we moved away from Wounded Warriors, and I'll tell you what, we like to give back to people who serve, and it's really important to us. And we thought, and after we were working with Dave, that our affiliation with Indiana State Police, it moved right into the Gary Dudley Memorial Foundation, and thought it was a perfect match for us.
Great.
So,
well, Dave, talk about the Gary Dudley Memorial Foundation. What does that serve, and where does that money go?
We'd be happy to talk about that. For those that aren't aware, Lieutenant Gary Dudley was a member of the Indiana State Police. He was the commander of the Indiana State Police Recruit Academy, and Gary had a direct and indirect hand in instructing well over 700 members of the Indiana State Police Department. He was highly respected, highly valued, and you hear about the person that would take the shirt off his back to help somebody else. That was Gary Dudley. Gary Dudley was the best man in my wedding. He and I are very
Don't
very
blame him
close
for
to each
that,
other.
okay?
Well, hey, we've held for 21 years, so he did something right.
B doesn't listen to this, does she?
I don't know. She may. I may have her listen to this one. So, but on a tragic note, Gary was involved then with Concerns of Police Survivors and helping to raise funds for that very worthy organization that assists families, survivors of fallen officers killed in the line of duty in Indiana. He was on a charity bicycle ride, August 22nd, 2006, out on the western part of Indiana, and was struck by a truck that ran into the support vehicle, ran into him, and also killed Gary Martin from Lake County Sheriff's Department, and seriously injured Spencer Moore, who was retired from the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. But from that very tragic death, there came a sizable donation to Concerns of Police Survivors. And as things transitioned over time, the ride continued. And from that ride, another ride came about from the Gary Dudley Memorial Scholarship Foundation, founded by Gary's wife, Carolyn Dudley. And that's a family bicycle ride, happens every year. This year, the ride is August 22nd out at the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. It's exactly 1 week before the car show. So there's an opportunity for people that like to ride bicycles to come out and do the family ride, from anywhere from a 1 mile ride to a century ride. And that's the primary way that the foundation raises money.
And I know we have a big footprint in that also. The Indiana State Police have their specialty teams out there, along with all law enforcement out there at the academy.
Have a big display. And I'd be remiss for saying, where does that money go? That money goes to the children of fallen officers, whether it's a city officer, a county officer, a state police officer, or a federal officer that's assigned to Indiana. Should they be killed in the line of duty, their children receive already state funds allowing them to go to a state school tuition free. But that doesn't count if they are going to a private institution or if they're going to a trade school, where they have the opportunity through the Gary Dudley Memorial Scholarship Foundation to get a scholarship to be able to go to pay for those costs. And the typical scholarship is $2,000 a year, and it's eligible to be earned for a period of 8 semesters. So they can come back. It's not just a one-time. So to date, the Gary Dudley Memorial Scholarship Foundation has awarded over $145,000. So very worthwhile charity. All the people that work for it donate their time, so there's no administrative costs coming out of the funds that are raised.
All the money goes towards the scholarships.
Goes to the scholarships.
That's great. That's wonderful. Well, again, you're listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids. I'm your host, Sergeant Rich Myers, with Captain Dave Burston and the president of Church Brothers Collision Repair, Ted McClintock. We're talking about the car show that's going to be coming up here August 29, 2015 at the Church Brothers Collision Repair at 751 North Shadeland Avenue. And the money this year goes towards the Gary Dudley Foundation. And I saw last year on these notes, you guys raised over $11,000 for the Wounded Warrior Project.
Well, they did, and because I don't know that Ted would say this, so I will say it for him. The actual amount raised was $5,500. Church Brothers generously matched dollar for dollar every bit that was raised. And they have committed to do the same thing for this year's show.
Well, that's great. That's great to hear. And I hope we have great weather like we did last year for that. Ted, if you got maybe the particulars, what time the show starts and what time program's going to be given out and that type of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, registration for guys with cars is from 8 to 10. Actually, the show starts at 10 and runs to 3 p.m., although I think our plan today is to probably give out awards around 2:30. Okay. And I will tell you, there's a mass exodus once the awards are given. So
I won, I'm going. I didn't win, I'm going.
That's right. So you don't show up at 3:01 unless you want to help clean up.
You'll find an empty parking lot, right?
That's right.
Well, we have a big footprint in this also, don't we, Dave?
We do. Last year, we had a sizable display from explosive ordnance display, canine display, high performance vehicle display. We had one of our high performance Mustangs out there, and there is one Indiana State Police unmarked Challenger. Not a Charger, Challenger high performance vehicle that is a police vehicle.
Right.
It's the only one. And plans are for it to be at the show.
Good.
So we're looking forward to it.
So you can get a snapshot of that, and so you'll know what to watch for out on the street.
Yeah, and anybody that's old enough to remember the movie Vanishing Point, and I'm not going to explain it. If you know the movie, you know what I'm talking about. That's what this Challenger looks like.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to see that Challenger in your rearview mirror, that's for sure.
No.
Well, that'll be interesting to see out there at the car show. Now, are you going to have any entertainment? Any other things going on out there?
Well, there is entertainment. I'll let Ted talk about that because anybody that's a Colts fan, a longtime Colts fan, who's going to be there?
Joe Stasiak's going to be there. Joe's the MC.
Really?
Yeah, Big Joe is the MC. He does a fantastic job.
Oh, yeah. Joe's a personable guy. He can talk to a wooden post.
And talk. Yeah. Yes, he can. And I think we've got J.D. Cannon coming out with Hank FM.
Okay.
He's going to be there. And we've got a number of kid activities, too, with bounce house and some things for the kids. And really, we're excited with the state police activities with the dog demonstrations.
Yeah.
And
had the canine there last year. We'll have them there again this year. And I went there last year. Somebody was foolish enough to get into the bite suit, and
I've done that, so don't say foolish.
Yeah, well, I'm the foolish one that did it last year, and probably will be the one doing it this year, unless you plan to take that for me.
We have Dan Hall actually picked out for the bite suit
with no bite suit, right? Just Dan Hall just to get bit.
Yeah.
Food going to be available?
Yeah, we're going to have food trucks. The plan is to have at least 5 or 6 trucks with the various types of food, and we also have Donald Davidson from the historian from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, who will be out with a Q&A for a half an hour or so.
Excellent.
In the middle of that. So actually,
and anybody that reads the Star and reads the favorite 5, one of my favorite 5 will be there. The Ice Barn. They have shaved ice. It's delicious. And last year they donated some things, but this year they're bringing out their Ice Barn truck, and they're going to be shaving the ice, and it's better than a snow cone. I'll just leave it at that. So.
That sounds like a wonderful time, and it's excellent something to get involved with. And is there any limits on the cars, or what type of cars, or is motorcycles invited, or how's that working out?
Well, we don't really have it. We've got a number of classes, and I didn't really bring the class list, but really any type of car. You're invited to bring a car.
Okay.
I don't believe that we're allowing motorcycles in this year.
Okay. If somebody comes on the motorcycle and they want to be as a participant, but this is a car show,
right.
And it's from anything from vintage to late model exotics and
even the rat rod.
Yeah.
We've got a category for the rat rod group. So
is that available on your website?
Yeah, available on the website.
And the $20 to register.
Yeah, $20 to register, and actually pre-registration you get a free T-shirt.
Okay.
But it's www.church-brothers.com. All the info should be out there with a flyer. It should be out there this week with the flyer. But you can actually there's a link to register online.
Great, that'd be good. So pre-registration, you get a T-shirt.
T-shirt, yep. And unfortunately, you can't be the first registered car because I took that spot.
You already got that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what are you taking? Tell everybody what you got.
I'm going to take the first car I ever bought that I still own, a 1970 Plymouth Duster. Tom Trial calls it a survivor. It's not anywhere near show condition, but it's a driver, and I enjoy taking it out there, and it'll be fun.
Kind of like Dave himself. Not anywhere near show condition.
That's right.
He's a driver.
Beauty's in the eye.
There you go.
Well, guys, we're down to the last 30 seconds. I appreciate both of you being here. Thanks so much, and we're going to have great weather.
Great weather. And for the bicycle ride, Gary'sRide.com. Be part of that August 22nd.
Appreciate it. You've been listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant Rich Myers from the Indianapolis District, along with Ted McClinick from Church Brothers, Dave Burston from the PIO office. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate the Indiana State Police Alliance. We'll talk to you next week. Roadshow out.